Good morning. Okay, we have a Hadron XX24 that I am going to do a live com looky-loo slash flight slash review. So the Hadron XX, very sharp looking wing. You can see the cell openings are very small. As you get towards the center, they get significantly bigger. We've got 24 right there. It's upside down, but you can see it. Maybe you can see it. Let's take a look at the risers. The big thing that's got everybody interested in this is those trimmer systems right here. These are supposed to make it easier to launch and land at lower speeds, high altitude takeoffs, and to thermal. It does add a level of complication. You need to be very aware of how you're using them, because during while trimmers are on, you cannot use the speed system while they're engaged or closed. You can't use the speed system. Let's get this sucker in the air. I'm going to do a live com flight, so you'll be able to hear what I'm saying, and we'll be able to talk about this in the air. If you're interested in knowing how to do live com, look at the link in the description. Everything to do live com, how I do it, all the mistakes and mess ups that I've made and figured out, tips and tricks, are in that link. So if you're interested in doing live com videos, check that out. All right, let's get in the air. Stop right there. This is future James coming to you from beyond Hadron XX, coming back in time to tell you about this launch right now. Something embarrassing happens. It's not the best launch in the world, and it happened to me on all but one of my launches, and I was going to cut them out because they're a little embarrassing, but I thought, you know what, if I was watching this, I'd want to see everything that happened, not just the sugar-coated parts. So here it is. I'll let you watch it, and then I'm going to rewind and tell you exactly what happened at this point in time, so you understand and understand why it happened. All right, continue. Whoa! Okay, pretty crazy, right? It's crazy that I could even get off the ground with those trimmers out that far. Plus, it's a little crazy that the flaps were in, but the trimmers were out once I was in the air. And this was not something I forgot to check or make sure on the ground. These came out during the launch. They did that all but one of the 4 or 5 launches that I did. And I thought that maybe, I couldn't figure out what was going on. I thought maybe the trimmer tabs were weak and so they were sliding out. Couldn't figure it out until someone pointed it out to me. I looked back in the footage and sure enough, he was right. What's happening, let's look at the front of the video again, the front of that launch. What's happening is the trimmer tabs are getting caught on my arm as I bring the wing up. So it was happening every time. Maybe it's my unique way of launching. I'm not sure, but those trimmer tabs would lay on the arm, and then as I brought up the wing with pressure, it would slip out. Knowing that, I can just turn the trimmer tabs so that doesn't happen. But that was a mystery for me and really screwed up my launches. So I couldn't believe I got off the ground with that left tab 90% of the way out and the right hand about 30% of the way out, because I could feel it like trying to go, like going all over the place. But luckily I was able to stick it, get it off the ground, and then figure it out quickly. That's what that was. It's not a flaw in the wing. It was a flaw in my launching technique. Once I figured it out, it wasn't a problem, but I wanted to show you that, and I'd also be curious to hear anyone else who's had that experience launching the Hadron. People who have the Hadron currently, who own it, or who have test flown it. Anybody else out there who's had that little glitch. Alright, continue on. Okay, let's do a little speed run here. I've got my speed app open. And we'll just do it up and down this little line here and see what kind of average speeds we get. Trim's closed, flaps closed, trim's open, and yeah, let's see how it does. So here we go, here we go. This does weight shift very nice. For a high aspect ratio wing, it doesn't shimmy in the air very much at all, which is nice. Okay, straight level flight. If there's a wind, it might be 1 mile an hour, seriously. I'm tracking it in an app that will average the speed of both direction, removing any peaks and valleys in speed and giving you a very accurate speed overall. So I'm going to turn the camera down a little bit so you can see the speedometer. 34, 33. This is trim's closed, but the flaps are disengaged or open. 33, 32, 33. And I've got to have a little bit of a tailwind here, so I'll bet it drops down to like 27 on the return trip that way. So I'm going a straight line down the coast, down the shoreline here. So real straight line, then I'll turn around and go back, real straight line. Trimmers are closed. Okay, 34, 35. I am very light on the throttle to hold this speed though, which is a good sign. 35, 34. 35. Okay, we'll turn around and see what we got going the other way. Alright, what do we got? 30. 31. 29, 30, 29, 30, 29, 28, 29, 30, 29, 30. Man, this has got a 29.5 to 30 mile an hour upwind speed and a 33 mile downwind speed. So 31-ish, 31.5, somewhere in there. Yeah, holding really steady at 29.30. Let's try closing the flaps and seeing what kind. So I'm holding steady at 30. I'm going to close the flaps. Uh, 26, 27, 28, 27, 26, 25. Okay, it's going between 27 and 26 miles an hour now, when I was at 29 to 30. So that gives you an idea of that speed difference between the flaps and no flaps. 26. Okay, I'm going to turn and see what we get going the opposite direction here. Okay, going down, we were at 34-ish, 33. Now I'm at 29, 28, 29, 30, 29. So at my weight range, at this altitude, 29 holding steady. I'm going to guess we've got a 4 mile an hour, maybe 4.5 mile an hour difference with the flaps up or down. Okay, let's do gain a little altitude, and we'll try
Trimmers all the way open. See what kind of speed we get there. Okay, here we go. I'm heading downwind. I'm going to drop these trimmers. I'm at 32, 33, 34, 33. Oh yeah. Hanging right along. 45. 43, 41, 41, holding very steady at 41. All right, drop to 40, 41, 40, really steady at 40. Really steady. 41. All right, let's flip her around and see how we do. I don't know if you can see how little pressure on that tip steering. Very little. Okay, upwind, 41. 41, 40, 41, bouncing back and forth between 40 and 41. All right, now I'm going to see what my, I want to see what my Fly Sky High is giving me for altitude, see if I'm climbing or dropping. Oh, I'm climbing really good, actually. Full throttle. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. Let's go to this screen. 59, 61, 62, 64, 71, 75, 78. There's 6,000 feet. Definitely some room to climb there.
Here is the true speed of the wing with flaps closed, open, and trimmers closed and open. So, the slowest speed of the wing is 27.4 miles an hour with the flaps engaged. With the flaps open but the trims closed, it is 31.6 miles an hour, and with the trimmers fully open, it's 40.5 miles an hour. Now, the method that I use to test these speeds is very accurate and also not real good for the placebo effect that we all experience with our favorite wings. I'm not saying that's the case with this wing, but usually wings are slightly slower than what we initially think, because as we fly our wings, we see the peaks and the valleys, and we kind of tend towards the peaks of the speed. You know, we get surges to higher numbers, and we tend to live up there in our minds with the speed of the wing. So what the software I use in the background, it removes the peaks and valleys and averages one direction of the leg of the trip, so it's not weighted against time at any given speed, just the actual wind, the airspeed in one direction and then the opposite direction, and then you can average those two to get a very accurate wing speed at any trim. So those numbers once again are 40.5 for full speed minus speed bar, 31.6 and 27.4, giving us a 13.1 speed range in all totaled in the trimmers.
I'm not one to get into acro, but this wing is extremely agile. As soon as you start curling that rear end, I'm going to turn up the camera here, see if you can see it. So you can see you take the brake out. Got this 2D steering, and then as soon as you start curling with that end, whoa! 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 That takes such a small amount of effort to make that happen. That's crazy. Yeah, as soon as So it's soft as you pull the slack out of the brake lines. See, there's that much right there until you start affecting the rear end. And then that much, and you are going into your turn. It's fairly stiff, and you get a lot of reaction for very little brake pressure. Okay, so Hadron XX, 24 meter, trimmers closed, catching what little thermal activity and ridge lift I can off this face. Got a 26.25, 26 miles an hour. Oh yeah, very nice. Oh, there we go. Woo! This is the best time of year to fly, right here in the fall. The air is crisp. You don't have to wear too much warm clothing. It's just awesome. Let's see, we could have a chance to do a really fast speed here. Let's do full trims. 47, 51, 53. 46, 47, 49, 47, 46. Nice. Okay, 47. 47 to 34, so 13 miles an hour in the trims. Okay, so I have been flying around about an hour here, and the whole setup seriously is awesome. The risers are a little more complicated, which anybody who had this, you know, they'd get used to that. But one of the things that I notice is happening is and this would only be during the first phase of owning the wing, but you reach up here, you find the tabs, you let them out, right? Well, an inch apart is the flaps tab, and so you can reach up here, and you really have to look, be very conscious of when you're doing the flaps. Let the flaps out, you know, or close the flaps, let the trims out, or close the trims. I had a minute ago where I found the flap on this side, thought I found it on this side, and I let the trimmer out on my left and the flap out on my right, and I was able to fix it really quick. But you just have to be really conscious of that there are now 2 tabs here, which is completely new. The rest of it is pretty standard for a reflex wing with tip steering and 2D steering. But that is different. The trim tabs are larger, but when you're just looking for a tab with your thumb, like I usually do, they feel very similar. So you got to look, let them in or out, do it that way.
This is my post-flight kind of roundup thoughts. I sent the wing back today, so I've had a chance to fly it a few times, and now I want to tell you what my overall impression was, and especially on the trimmer tabs, now that I flew it quite a few times. First of all, the handling of the wing is phenomenal. Once you hit brake pressure, game on. Little bit gives you a lot, and you can throw that wing around like great in that respect. Just really good handling. Low level flying is really sharp, clean turns. It holds the energy really, really strongly. So that's great. The wing is very solid in the air. A lot of high aspect ratio wings that I've flown kind of do a little shimmy in the air. Not even a hint of that on this wing, so big plus on that. The feature that really sets the wing apart, well, before I go into the flaps, the efficiency of the wing is very good. Very good. 24 my weight at this altitude. I'm 245 at 5,600 feet is my launch altitude. It was really good. So efficiency is great. The speed range was cool. You've seen all that. So the trimmer tabs. What do I think of them after I've practiced launching with them a few times and flying around with them? In the air, they're a great little asset to have to passively slow the wing down for thermaling, for ridge soaring. Pretty cool. For launching and landing, and this is going to be probably very like person by person, but that wing launches so nice by itself. I didn't care for the trimmer tabs for launching and landing. Now, here is another moment that you haven't seen yet in the video, and that's my land. And I delayed that so I could give a little context to it because, again, it's an embarrassing moment I was going to cut out, but I'm going to show it to you anyway so that you can have some kind of where I'm coming from on this. So on fast wings like this Hadron, and it's pretty fast, trimmed at about 31 miles an hour for my weight, I love bleeding off the energy on the land and skimming along the ground, and then, you know, final pop at the end to land lightly. Well, with the trimmers closed or activated, there's not as much energy in the wing, and so the energy I expected wasn't there, and so I went down to like kind of slide my feet on the grass, and I was going to pull myself back up with a little brake pressure, you know, and as I bled that energy off, bring myself back up, it just wasn't there. And so while my approach was about 4 miles an hour slower, the energy in the wing was much less. So for me, landing, I would much prefer land with trims with the flaps deactivated. And in fact, after you see my botched landing, my embarrassing landing, you can check out, I'll just play immediately after my other landing, the landing where I did it with trims, with flaps deactivated. For launching, the flaps cause that wing to, when they're closed or activated, to come up slower, and so the transition from your initial burst of energy to actually getting airborne takes more effort, in my opinion, with the trims closed. That wing launches so nicely by itself without the trims that you just don't need them. Without the trim, without the tabs, when I say trims I mean tabs, it just goes whop into place, and then it immediately lifts the motor off your back, and it's a very easy launch. But with that tab, it's like a very slow coming up, and then it locks into place, and it does that nicely, but then it's like kind of a little slower getting going, where I'm used to the wing popping into place and I'm off. So for me, I would use it as I would use it for the thermaling aspect, for the ridge soaring, to passively slow my wing down. I loved all of those applications, but for launching and landing, for me it was unneeded. Okay, let's get back to this landing with the flaps engaged. Like I said, I was just expecting energy to be there that was already partially removed by the flaps being engaged. The approach was slower, and I had successful landings after this with the flaps engaged, but my landing style, I prefer a lot of energy on landing and don't mind coming in quickly. So here the two are. First one with the flaps engaged, second one with the flaps not engaged. Right on. Well, that's it. That's it. Great wing. Thanks, Ryan. Enjoy it. Talk to you later.